There was almost nothing planned about this shot, and it was pure serendipity that I even got it in the first place. And my camera broke while I was getting this photo, and basically nothing about this picture should have happened, but yet it happened anyway, and I'm actually quite pleased with the results. I was out shooting a few pictures for a digital photography school article about Program Auto. Now, I don't really use Program Auto, but I wanted to explain what it is so others could understand how to use it. And if you have ever wanted to get yourself out of the automatic mode on your camera, Program Auto, it's the P on the mode dial, is a good place to start. And as I was getting pictures for this article, I saw this little squirrel, and he was just sort of running around. And I followed him for a bit. I watched him run up this little tree. He was getting attacked by some mockingbirds, and so I waited for him to come down. I had to get kind of close because the 50mm lens doesn't zoom, and a little while later he pokes his head out of the tree like you see here, and I shot one picture of him. Normally I would take a couple shots because chances are it's not going to turn out. And I shot one picture and my camera broke, and before I could fix it, he ran off, and I thought there was no way that I got a good shot, and I was kind of bummed out. And I pulled up my camera, the LCD screen on the back of my camera. I looked at the picture and I thought it was a total loss. It was all blown out, and on the website you can see what the original one looked like. The problem that happened with my camera is there's a mechanism that closes the aperture blades when you take a photo to stop down your aperture to whatever value you have it set. So at like 2.8 or 4 or 8 or whatever it is. And every now and then that mechanism sticks on my camera. And the shot will be taken at f1.8, the widest available aperture opening, even though you've told your camera, or I've told my camera to shoot it at a smaller aperture. So that's what happened here. This was shot at f1.8 instead of 2.8 or 4 or whatever I had. And when I put it in my computer, loaded up in Lightroom, I just ignored this thing. I thought there's no way this is even worth attempting to salvage, so I just ignored it. And then later on, I figured, well, I'll try some adjustments, and it worked. I could not believe it. Turns out the raw file had enough data to salvage the photo. Woohoo! I was super pleased. And if you look on the article, you can see I've got a picture of the original histogram, and all the data is on the right-hand portion of the histogram. And it looks like some of it's even clipped on the right-hand side, meaning there's no actual data. But there was enough that I could salvage it, and I have a screenshot of what I did, some of what I did. I did some brushing adjustments and other things, but in terms of the basic exposure adjustments, you can look and see what I did there. And I was able to salvage the photo. And I kind of like how it turned out. I like that he's kind of poking his head down and looking at you. And I named it Hello There because it reminded me of that scene in episode 4, Star Wars episode 4, where Obi-Wan looks up at R2-D2, who's hiding behind some rocks after he scares away the sand people. And he says, "Hello there." And R2-D2 beeps. And Obi-Wan says, "Come here, my little friend." And it's this cute little scene. And that's kind of what I pictured here. It's this little squirrel saying, "Hello there." Anyway, go watch the movie. It's awesome. So I'm putting it here on the blog for the reason that I like it because it's a good photo. But also, I want to kind of reiterate something that I've said before, which is I shot this on my D200, not my D7100. So my D200, which is a 10-year-old camera, it's a 10 megapixel image. And I even had to crop it down. So what you're looking at here is probably like a 5 megapixel image. And the reason I'm saying this is because as you listen to this, I'm telling you, your camera is better than mine. And if your pictures aren't good, and if you're out taking photos and you're not happy with how they're turning out, I'm telling you, it's not your camera. And I'm not saying it's you. It's just that the camera is not the limiting factor here. My recommendation to you, if you are one of these, if you have this mindset of, oh no, I like looking at photos on the web, and there's no way my pictures can be as good as so and so, or as good as these pictures that I see on Flickr all the time or on online forums, they can be. You just have to get your camera off the shelf and take it down and go shoot with it and just try stuff out. Maybe try getting a new lens for your camera, a 50mm or 35mm or something like that that's got a nice big aperture. And just use your camera more. Use the gear you've got more, because it's not the gear that's stopping your photos from being awesome. Also, the lesson here, aside from that, is shoot in RAW, because you never know when it will come in handy. I've been shooting in RAW for a very long time. I spent like a month when I first got my camera not shooting in RAW. I kind of regret it, but that's okay. I've been shooting in RAW ever since. And you never know when those extra bits of data will come in handy, because storage is cheap and there's really not a whole lot of reason not to. So give it a shot and try it. And finally, if you're looking for a way to get rid of the auto mode and really explore your camera more, try program auto. And it's sort of a way of giving you a bit more control while letting your camera do most of the heavy lifting.